God knew that as long as her past had her heart, I was never going to be able to get access to her. She was never going to be able to fully serve me because she was going to be a house divided. And a double-minded person, they're not going to be able to stand because their emotions are going to throw them to and fro, weigh them back and forth, making them think that they need these things, this instant gratification. They need it so bad because it becomes like a addiction.
If you're new here, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a message. Welcome to Lighthouse Global Ministry, where God transforms your heart, renews your mind, heals your soul, and aligns you with his purpose. In a world full of distractions, Lighthouse Global Ministry is for those seeking meaning, longing to belong, and discover who God called you to be. Over here, we prioritize relationship over religion because God desires intimacy, not just performance. Now let's get into today's message.
You have to die to yourself daily. It means you have to surrender your timeline. You got to surrender what you thought your life was going to be. You got to surrender the stories, the false narratives that you keep telling yourself about who you are and how you think you should live and how you think things should go. This is about losing every part of your old self so that you can embrace the life that God has for you. Many people struggle with letting go of who they used to be, the relationships that they used to have, the things they used to do, things they used to find comfort in, their achievements. And pride causes us to look back to an Egypt that God already freed us from. Because a lot of us, when we have decided, hey, I'm going to pick up my mat and walk, I'm going to follow Jesus. What happens is, in the beginning, you feel excited about that. You're like, yes, God, I'm here. I'm ready to do it. But as time goes on and you just kind of stuck in this place where you're not who you used to be, but you ain't where you want to be. So you kind of like in this middle spot. And what happens in the middle is this thing called nothingness. It feels like nothing is happening. And if you're a person that you have been used to distractions, pulling for things that would keep your attention, entertainment, certain things that you used to do that now that you have decided that you're going to follow God, you can no longer do that no more. Now you have to find a different way to cope with your nothingness. And in order for you to carry your cross, the cross is not a burden. The cross is there to train you. And the longer you resist it, it's going to feel like a burden. It's going to feel like, why me? My life was so much easier before I started following God. Then now all of a sudden I got all these problems. I got these demons I'm fighting. It's like I'm trying to resist all of these things. I'm going against the norm for my age. My friends are not doing this. So why am I even doing this? Why is it even worth it? Well, tonight I am going to walk y'all through step by step exactly what that means. So in Isaiah 43, 18 and 19, God commands us to forget the former things. Do not dwell on your past. See that I'm doing a new thing. In order for you to see that God is doing a new thing, you got to keep your head and your eyes in front of you. Every time you look over here, it's a distraction. It's something pulling you, trying to tell you that what you left is better than where you're going. And that's the enemy trying to keep you stuck, trying to keep you trapped in cycles so that you never get to the other side. But if I'm in the right house, if I got the right people on here, I need y'all to declare I'm going to the other side. I want y'all to type that in the chat. I am going to the other side. This is a declaration that no matter how I feel, it does not matter how I feel today, I'm going to the other side. Where I was, I can't be there no more. I've outgrown that. So yes, this might be painful right now, but I'm going to the other side. So I want y'all to declare that in the chat. If you are somebody in here, you're going to the other side. And so looking back, y'all, is going to distract you from carrying your cross. When Lot's wife, because y'all know this story. When Lot's wife looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt because she was longing for the things that God was freeing her from. God knew that as long as her past had her heart, I was never going to be able to get access to her. She was never going to be able to fully serve me because she was going to be a house divided. And a double-minded person, they're not going to be able to stand because their emotions are going to throw them to and fro, weigh them back and forth, making them think that they need these things, this instant gratification. They need it so bad because it becomes like a addiction is what it almost feels like. When you are used to getting those dopamine effects, those highs, people calling your phone, texting you, liking your pictures, you just being able to just go hang out with people because you're bored. That's dopamine. And when you get your body used to that, you also have to get your body unused to it. And it's called withdrawals. You start feeling like it's a withdrawal because it's something that you didn't even notice that you craved until you had to go without it. God never said it was going to be easy. He never promised no financial gain from it. He never promised you. And every promise that God gave you was eternal. So God wants us to fix our mind on the things of eternity, not this present age, because the world is fading away. The world is going away, but God is God and he will always remain the same. So if you are somebody on here, you want to carry a cross and you excited about it, I want you to be excited, but I also want you to be equipped, because as you continue to carry that cross, because in the beginning, carrying your cross feels like, okay, I got it. I can do this. I got it. I'm going to get past this one finish line and this is it. But as you continue to go up that hill, the higher you go up the hill, the further out you can see like, oh, that's a long road. I got to carry all of this. Now you're starting to get weary. Now self-doubt is starting to creep in. Now you feeling like, I don't think I'm strong enough. Now you lusting and longing for your past. Now you on Instagram, you on TikTok, you on all these platforms looking at old pictures of what your life used to be and how your life used to be. And I've been guilty of that. I've been one to say, oh, when I was out there in the world, this is what I used to do. This is how I used to be. And God kept saying, you are not that person no more. That's not you. That wasn't even you that was out there doing that. That was the spirits that you came into agreement with operating and controlling you. So that wasn't even you. And so I'm telling you, if you are somebody on this call, you want to pick up your cross and you want to walk, you're going to have to leave your past alone. You're going to have to leave everything in your past that would trigger you to long for it. Because a lot of times we'll think, okay, well, I read my Bible now. I'm studying. I'm worshiping. I'm doing all the things. I can handle it. I'm telling you, you can't. You cannot. Unless God gives you the grace to go into those atmospheres that used to trigger you, then that's something that you just should leave alone. Don't even meddle with it, because the moment that you take yourself back over there, you know what you just did? You just gave foothold to the devil, and that's all he needs. He only need a crack. If the devil will see that you will compromise even just a little crack, that's enough for him to slide in under the door, and before you know it, you done compromised your birthright. You done gave up way more. Because how many times y'all done been in situations, and let's be honest here, because I believe in, hey, if we get honest, we're going to get real. If we get real, we're going to get healed. How many times have you been dealing with somebody and you knew this ain't going to be nothing? It ain't nothing like that. I ain't got no feelings in this. I'm not really involved like that. And the longer you keep dealing with that person, the more feelings you got for them, the more attached you get to them. The more you feel like, okay, well, maybe this could work. I could probably make this work. It ain't so bad, because compromise, when we open those cracks lead to compromise. Do not give the devil a foothold to make you compromise. And you'll say, I'm strong enough, but I promise you that you're not. You're not strong enough to go against the enemy when God has told you, walk away from that. I'm doing something new in your life. Jesus said in Luke 9:62, no one who puts their hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom. Because God don't want lukewarm. He wants people that's going to be all the way in. Either you in or you out. But if you keep teetering the line in this gray, one day, God, I want to be with you. And the next day, depending on how I feel and how I wake up, I want to go just kind of look back. It ain't like I want to go over there. I just kind of want to see what they doing. I want to see what's going on in that world. You're not going to be able to be with God, because God is looking for loyalty. The same way we want loyalty from people. You don't want people in your life that's inconsistent. They in one day, they out the next. One day they feelings over here, the next day they acting dry, they talk. You don't want that. So if that's not what you want, why would God accept somebody that's half-baked, somebody that's lukewarm. This is a tough message, and I knew that it wasn't going to be received well, because what people want is they want a message that's going to make their ears feel good, and God ain't in that type of stuff. God is into your growth. He's into your development. He's into you changing and evolving so that you can become who he created you to be. So that you stop living small, you stop thinking small, and that you start to open up your spiritual eyes so that you can see who you are in God and who he's called you to be in the earth. Because every single person on this live under the sound of my voice, there's a calling attached to your name. There are people attached to your assignment. And until you say yes, until you pick up your cross and you walk, then there are people out there groaning, literally going through things, suffering in silence because you're not ready. And so what I want y'all to do is take your calling serious. Take your cross serious. Because yes, it's going to require you to have to die to some things. It's going to require you to have to give up some things. But oh, for the glory of God. What would it be like to have the glory and the weight of God to rest on you? Because of the times that we're coming in now, people, the world is dark. And what I mean by dark is the world is being deceived. They are being deceived by what they're seeing on the internet. They're being deceived by what they see in the news. We are even being deceived by our own feelings, because your feelings will tell you that you're nothing when God says you the head and you not the tail. Your feelings will tell you that you can't do it, and God says you can do all things through me. So this is where you got to know the word for yourself, because we're coming into times where if we start looking at what the world is doing and comparing it to God, everything God is going to do in your life is totally opposite from the world. The world is going to tell you, boost yourself up, go way, way high. God is going to tell you, the last shall be first. God is going to tell you, you got to be a servant. You got to have a humble heart. Don't think of yourself more than you should. The world is going to tell you, keep your head held high. Let them know who they think they playing with. They don't know. I'm going to spin the block. Blah, blah, blah. God is not in that. God requires us to be humble. He requires us to endure, to be patient, to respond with gentleness. We don't have to prove our point. We don't have anything to prove to a human. The race that we run is for God. The race that we run is not to seek recognition. It's not to seek any validation from people, because if you're doing that for people, if you're running your race for validation, you're not going to make it. Because the people that's going to make it on this walk is meant for those who can endure. It's meant for those who make up their mind. When it comes to walking with God, you got to make up your mind that who I used to be, even yesterday, I'm not that person anymore. That God has called me to rise up. He has given me a new name. He has saved me. He has redeemed me. So I accept the spirit of adoption. I accept that I am of royalty, that I am a royal priesthood. And when you really start to believe this about yourself, the way that you spend your time is going to be different. The thoughts that you have, they're going to change with time. I'm not saying that you're not going to someday struggle, because you still are human. We human and we got spirit, right? So I'm not telling you that you won't struggle. But what I'm saying is now, instead of leaning into your own understanding, you start leaning into God's understanding. Instead of trying to figure it out in your own strength, you be humble and say, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I need you to show up in this. Lord, give me wisdom for this season that I'm in my life. Lord, give me a heart that looks like yours. Help me to be patient, God, when I want to rush. When I want to rush because I feel like your process is too long, Lord, help me to be patient. This is Kingdom Talk.
If this message blessed you, be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and share it with a friend.